quick note, I did think it was a little bit ironic that somebody that doesn't have lips is always talking about somebody having lips. Because John Gruden doesn't have any lips. I don't know if you guys have seen. Google John Gruden. He has no lips.
Hold on. I was
doing the same thing. I was like, dude, what?
Oh, he's
no
jealous.
lip.
Oh,
It just goes.
That's
It's just a face with a hole. Pause. There's no like the lip is supposed to be the intermission. There's just no intermission.
It's straight line.
Right.
Yo, all right. So here's my question to y'all, right? Because I'm letting y'all know right now. Anybody doing an investigation into my DMs from over 10 years ago, they gonna pull the plug on this whole damn thing. This whole channel. Like, could you imagine somebody going into your DMs and release it? We just obtained Alan York's DMs from 10 years ago. We have 6,000 messages from his MySpace to the Facebook to Instagram. I done said some really thirsty things in my DMs before, so I'm hoping that nobody has, I'm a changed man. I'm in a relationship, so I hope nobody releases these DMs.
That would make me
my thirsty days. What about you, Jay?
Yeah.
No, I was just thinking that I think that's another reason why he was like, you know what, I'm just gonna resign because I'm not even that person. And I'm not, maybe he's like, I'm not about to be hard down arguing with y'all about my racist comments 10 years ago.
Right. And I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, sometimes
would y'all be good if are y'all secure? Like, if that's where we go in society, where they're like, look, everything is now public record. We're gonna start releasing everybody's DM.
I'm gonna beat them to the punch.
Nah, I mean,
I know.
Nah,
I done said some things.
Yeah, nah. Y'all could do my emails. I'm cool. My tweets.
Emails, I'm good.
Emails, I'm cool.
Definitely my email.
I've
really no emails either, Jay.
Yeah, I mean, I've done said some things on Twitter, but if we're gonna get to the DMs, that's why I'm gonna have to draw the line.
Yeah, that's it. You go.
What do y'all say?
Listen, y'all were gonna have to I would have to switch my genre to R&B. They're gonna be like, look at this begging ass fool. Like, I get real Carl Thomas.
Hey, welcome to the Soapboxx Podcast. I'm your host, TJ Legacy. And of course, I am here with the fam. We're all in this. Hold on, let me switch that up so we're not all male dominated here. There we go. Switch up the order here. What up? What's going on? We are the Soapboxx Podcast, the most infamous podcast on all your streaming services every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Welcome. We're gonna go straight into the introductions of my co-host, the best co-host that any host could ever ask for. I'm gonna start all the way from the lady up north, who, I mean, this is the second time I've seen her today, so I don't know. I don't know. She's probably sick of me already. What's up, Jesse?
What's poppin', TJ? I'm happy to be here for the second time. I know you love me, so it's okay. I know you do.
It's all love. Soapboxx had some victories today. Shout out to our new fans and our new base out to Soapboxx Nation in Nigeria. Definitely got some folks checking us out in Nigeria after we interviewed. If you guys are on our YouTube channel, check out the Nigerian bloodline. Look at Jesse got tired of us already. Tired of me already. She's like, look, we the Nigerian bloodline brothers, WWE fans. We interviewed them today, and it was really dope. So shout out to everybody from Nigeria. We're going to start with, speaking of the North, what's going on? Alan York, what's good?
Man, what's the word, y'all? What's the word? I'm feeling good. I'm actually on my last day of my liquid fast. So I've been doing a liquid fast this week. So this is the 4th day. So it's all water, teas, liquids. I feel marvelous, y'all. I feel marvelous. But I guess I'll take the liberty to kick it down to Florida to Miss Giovanni. How you doing?
I know. Speaking of liquid diet, skin glowing, self-care, all that in the face, just looking
Fabulous.
Beyonce would say, I am here. Hey, y'all. Hey, Soapboxx Nation. Definitely happy to be here. And shout out to everyone that is new to the Soapboxx Nation. Your voices will be heard here. And hopefully you all will enjoy the things that we have to share with you.
Absolutely. So speaking of Soapbox Nation, hey, make sure you follow us, Soapboxx Podcast. That's Soapboxx Podcast with 2X on all your streaming services and your platforms. Shout out to Soapbox Nation. Hey, if y'all have a comment, make sure you come check in. Hey, shout out to Maya, who's always showing us love, saying she's so excited for the episode tonight, saying what's up to the Soapboxx Podcast. Yo, I don't know if y'all into like tarot card. I'm gonna give you a little plug, Maya, because you're always so good to us on the Soapboxx Podcast. Maya does tarot card readings, right? So shout out to you and what you're doing on your channel. So go check out. If you look on the Soapboxx Podcast page, you will see her stuff. So it's just a little variety for those who are into that. Make sure you go check out Maya's page. And she says that the queens are looking snatched, and and the men are looking amazing. We try. I'm drinking. Me and Al, we drinking our water too. The calendar is coming soon. The Soapboxx calendar should be coming soon, ladies and gentlemen. So, hey, it's been a while since we've all been on the podcast together, all four of us in full effect. But today, listen, I know we spoke about the interviewing the Nigerian Bloodline brothers. Like, I had an incredible day today. I was just telling Alan off camera, like, today is one of those days that if I could live a day like today, it would be like I woke up, we did an international interview. I think it's our first. Yeah, I believe it's our first international interview for the Soapboxx Podcast. Those brothers have over 2.7 million followers on TikTok. Hey, that's awesome. I couldn't even fathom having that many people looking at the stuff that I do, but we're gonna be there one day. So it's kind of weird to actually see it and see how they're affected by that. And then from there, we went, had the interview, had a good workout, also had some very productive meetings again today. Then we're back here on the Soapbox doing what we got to do. So it's just been a big media day. And one of those days, it's like, you guys ever hear have you ever seen the movie Groundhog Day, where a day that can be played, it was a day that was played over and over and over again? This is one of those days. So it's been really productive, really great, a lot of positive energy, feeling good, feeling great. But I must say, I'm going to say something that I haven't said in a little while. Jesse, what's popping?
What's popping? Man, let me tell you what's popping. These kids, man, fuck them kids. I'm just joking. Let me tell you, when everybody got choices in life, right? When you people want to have kids, people don't want to have kids, people want to get married, don't want to get married, whatever. But there was this one young girl who said that she would rather have kids than get married because then she couldn't collect child support. And TJ, I don't know if you have that clip.
Oh, we do. This is a top-notch production. We don't play any games, spare no expense. Just say, Mr.
Can you play that for us?
Yes, Mr. Producer got the clip.
Them to tell me what their goals were. This one particular young lady said that she wanted to have 2 kids. So I said, so are you going to have a husband? And she said, nope. And I said, please tell me why you would choose in the 8th grade to have a goal of having 2 kids and not be married. She said, because if I'm married to him, I can't collect child support. And then she said, why should I marry a man that I have kids by? He might have issues or something. He might be on drugs. And I said, well, if he's too bad to be your husband, do you really think he's going to make a better father?
That's
damn.
Deep. That's deep.
So, Jay, I'm going to kick it to you first. My fellow momster over there. What did you think about that clip?
It was sad. It was disturbing. To me, I just feel like, hopefully, this is the issue. Somebody is telling that girl that she's not going to be able to have money, or for some reason, she feels like she won't be able to have money unless child support is involved, when really the message needs to be, you need to find a husband with money. Right. Then that'll break all that.
Wait, what? What?
You have kids and they don't have money, yes, you need child support. But if you marry somebody that has money, that's not, then the child support part is no longer a goal. Is that making sense? Broke people need I'm sorry. No, I should not say that at all. What I'm saying is, I already said it.
I get what you're saying. I'm
saying that the environment that the child is in is from a lack mentality where a mom, and sorry, y'all, I had bit this out of my gum, so I'm like trying not to bite it again.
Okay.
Where the mom is promoting the fact that she cannot survive in life unless a man is paying child support, meaning that man may not have been financially stable to take care of them while they were together, if that makes sense. So it's more stability for them to be apart because more money can come to the table, opposed to being with somebody where if you are in a relationship, the same amount of money can still exist. But there are relationships where you're dating someone and there is less financial support because the man feels like I have you, and he may not have it. And so it's like, I'm not going to give it to you because we live together. We take care of the kids together. I'm not giving you my money. But then when the person splits and they're no longer together, it's like the man is obligated to give money away. Yeah, y'all follow?
If money is such a big thing for her as an 8th grade, mind you, she's only in the 8th grade, y'all. But if money is like a priority thing for her, I think she should, when she's older, focus on finding a man with money to marry and have a baby with. And that way she'll be all set because he got money and they got kids together. I don't know. That's just like, it is disturbing just to think like she doesn't want to get married, but she'll have kids with somebody, even if they're like, what was that they said at the end? Like if they're mentally unstable or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, they may be messed up.
That's crazy to me. That's crazy. Like you will have
the
kids.
Disconnect is somewhere down the line, in her mind, she thinks that if you are married, there's no money. But if you're separated, you can demand the money. Like that's what I feel like the misconception is. It's like you can be in a relationship with the man with money.
Right.
You don't have to have a baby with somebody and then be like, okay, now I know they have to give me money because I have a baby by them. Like, but yeah. What y'all think, guys?
Alan, go ahead, Alan. I know Alan loves questions about children and family life. Go ahead.
Questions about nothing. I'm doing the math. This young lady has to be 12, 13. I don't care what she thinks. She's not going to think that in 5 years. So, I mean, it's just, you walk through these high schools and you talk to these middle schoolers and you talk to these high schoolers and stuff. They say anything, you know what I'm saying? And to be fair, yes, it is a possibility she will still think like that in 17 years. And even to you guys' point, getting a man with money may be her first step, like getting a man with money and then having his babies and then not being married to him. So I don't think that she was absent-minded in that at all, because the finances is what she's talking about. She's talking about having the baby for money. So as you know, the prerequisite of that is getting a man with money. So I didn't think that she discontinued that at all. I think she's just seeing a man's wallet as a stepping stool to a better life. At the end of the day, all of this is just people being products of the environment. I try not to be hard on kids because I know that's exactly what they are. You know, the same way that, we have 12-year-old boys who say they want to hustle. They don't see themselves living past a certain amount of age. They want to do much of nothing when they grow up. Women have these thoughts in their own, for lack of a better term, feminine or girly categories. It's more so, I guess, about possibly relationship dynamics and children dynamics, as opposed to with little boys, it's more tough things or quote unquote things how to provide or get money that may not be the most ideal way as well. So, kids say the darndest things. Everyone's just a product of their environment at that point. What I do hope, and I'm glad that she's actually speaking with somebody, though. I don't know if that was a guidance counselor, a therapist. I think that, having the availability of someone like that in her life to speak some sort of, sense, for lack of a better term, or just some sort of a roadmap to thinking better is something that I wish that all children have. So, shout out to whoever that young lady in the clip was. And I hope she continues doing work in the community and kind of like derailing thoughts like that. Because, 12 years old, these kids are starting young. So, I mean, whatever her thought is, start to be a reality at 13. And ain't no 13-year-old paying child support. So what you going to do then? Yeah, let's just hope the kids, let's hope the babies get the help that they need before they do permanent disability.
Mm-hmm.
Well, today's episode is actually called Get Off My Lawn. And I think this subject actually speaks to what this episode means, and it embodies what this episode means. Basically, get off my lawn. It means you're characterized as someone who is ill-tempered and you have an intolerance for new or different ideas or different values. And some of the values that we have in today's society or in our culture, what I would say our culture, but in society, is that men are expendable, specifically in the Black community, where the absence of fatherhood or male masculinity is something that is looked at as an option and not necessarily a necessity. It's sad because we've taken, and this was something that was orchestrated, where you take child support, and child support was supposed to supplement a father who is to make sure a father takes care of his responsibilities, not be a substitute for an actual father. So there's a difference, right? It's because you want to have child support for someone who's not there, and you want to be like, hey, you have responsibilities. You need to take care of responsibilities. The courts are going to make sure that you are financially responsible to that child and hold up your end of the end of the obligation. However, now it's actually looked at as, hey, well, I can have the baby, and I ain't really got to deal with him, which is really the decay of the family. There's no I don't know what race the young girl is or any of that kind of stuff, but the family structure, the destruction of the family structure, is also tied to the decay of, I believe, the decay of our society. Like, we need strong families, right? And it doesn't, and I will say this: there are all different types of families. They're blended families or whatever. But to think that, and this goes back to what Chris Rock said in one of his comedy specials, where he's like, women, children, and dogs are loved unconditionally, and the men are only loved based on the condition that they provide something, right? And so her value from her perspective is a man is only valuable if he actually has a check. She's not seeing that or thinking about the child and what that man would bring to the child. And what this is, what she's expressing to this teacher or this counselor, is learned behavior, right? And someone who is almost leading the witness to make them think that, hey, you don't need no man. You don't need no man. But the people who are saying you don't need no man, like, you got to figure out what's your plan down the road. Like, just because you have, you're strong-willed and you're able to do it by yourself, or doesn't mean it's necessarily recommended, right? I think most mothers, and I'm not a single mother, and y'all can speak to me or tell me if I'm wrong, would rather have a partner there who's active and an equal participant, rather than having to do it by themselves or to rely on the court system for financial assistance. So for her in 8th grade to actually have that mentality, it's sad, it's telling, and it just shows that we have a lot more work to do as a society as a whole in order to curve that way of thinking. It's not women need to be a dependent on a man. It's the masculinity or fatherhood is an option in the household, and we really need to get away from that. Am I basing my thinking in my thoughts?
Yes, I agree. I agree.
Gist of it.
You said I'm off base? Like I'm off?
No, you're on.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Well, I know, speaking of get off my lawn and people being intolerant to ideas, Giovanni, you have we all know what happened pretty much in Buffalo. You have that story for us?
Yes.
Yes.
So of course, very sad news in Buffalo. And then also, I guess I'll just finish this first, but if I'm not mistaken, there are new allegations being made against the dispatcher who took the call from the incident that took place in Buffalo.
Yes, I heard that. Yes.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to see if there's anything been updated, but 13 victims were shot. 11 of those victims were Black. I'm trying to see. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just trying to see if there's been an update before I say any wrong numbers.
No, you're good. I know that the mass shooter, while you're looking that up, I know that the mass shooter wrote a manifesto. He also was someone that intentionally wanted to target African Americans, although in majority African Americans. But go ahead if you got it, your stuff up.
Okay. Peyton Gendron, is that his last name?
I believe we call him white supremacist Peyton, mass shooter.
Well, this 18-year-old mass shooter, and I would just say allegedly for right now, shot and killed 10 people, and it was motivated by hate. This took place in a predominantly Black neighborhood in Buffalo, New York, and the suspect, this isn't the first time that somebody knew about his hate towards Black people. There was information that came out saying that he pretty much took, like, it was a pride associated with what he did. It was planned. It wasn't spur of the moment. This is something that he had planned out at the store in Buffalo. He was heavily armed in tactical gear and helmet, plated armor, everything. He was fully ready, military style, to go and kill Black lives. I feel like the story is being buried because of all the tragedies that took place with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and those type of things. And I feel like society has become numb to so many of the situations that are going on, that now it's almost like it's less of a reaction. I don't know if it's because of who the suspect is, because he's an 18-year-old, if it's because he's white, or if it's just people are not in tune anymore. But yeah, it's sad, and our thoughts and our prayers are with the family members. He also, just to kind of go to play inside what kind of took place for anybody that's hearing about it for the first time in Buffalo, the shooter, there are reports saying that he shot people inside and still made his way outside to shoot 4 more people outside of the grocery store. And 3 of those people who were shot outside, they died. And then when he entered the store, he continued to exchange fire, and it was just a massacre. Yeah. And that's what we're going through right now in the United States for all of our international listeners. And it's just a tragedy that has once again occurred where it's been hate crimes against Black people in the Black community, and not much is being done about it. So that's my spill.
I think, and thank you for that, Giovanni.
I didn't spill about the dispatcher. I mean, the dispatcher and somebody in the store who called to report what was going on during the shooting, and the dispatcher pretty much hung up on that person's face because they couldn't really understand what she was telling her to speak up louder, but you're getting shot at. This is the same incident, right? Am I not mistaken?
Yep, it is. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yep. And so now there are possible charges against this dispatcher for what took place. And I mean, I heard that, and Alan,
the dispatcher is actually on leave at this point.
But I heard that in general in New York, the officers and the dispatchers are just not the go-to people in a 911 situation. Like it's always like this, like they take forever. And so I don't know what that was about, but that was the first I ever heard about a dispatcher hanging up in somebody's face.
Yeah. I think this tragedy, and really it is a tragedy, but what it is a pattern, right? And we have to understand that being able to shoot and kill or attack Black people in this country with impunity is what this country was founded on, where it's a part of the Black experience that we, no matter where we are, your social economic status, are in constant danger. We just had a guy rush on stage trying to kill or attack Dave Chappelle. And Dave Chappelle's a rich man. Now we go into the grocery store, can't go to the grocery store, can't get Skittles at the store, can't go to church, can't go watch a movie, can't jog in a neighborhood. We are in constant danger. And so when we talk about the actual response to these atrocities towards African Americans, towards Black people, you got to ask, well, wait a minute, where's our hate crime bill, anti-Black hate crime bill? Where are those things? Because we saw how everybody kept it, how Joe Biden and the administration, when there was some Asian hate, we had hashtag Stop Asian Hate. We had an Asian hate crime bill. Like, they made sure that they were protected under the law. But now all I see is President Joe Biden hugging family members of the victims. Like, we don't need you to hug. We need you to do your job. The same job that Black folks did to get you elected by a majority within our demographic. And this is why people, or foundational Black Americans, and a lot of people who are Black are like, wait, why do I need to go vote? Why would I support Democrats? Why would I support any political party? Because push come to shove, we don't have equal protection under the law anyway. We got to worry about police. We got to worry about police killings. We got to worry about white mass shooters with guns, right? With AR-15s and guns. He literally had the words nigger on it. He had the words nigger on his gun. He had reparations. Here's your reparations on his gun. So this is thought out. And we have all these white supremacist think tanks all over social media, right, that are going to vilify Black people and monitor Black people and everything that we do, and then spew all this hateful rhetoric towards Black folks. But there's no RICO charges against any of these platforms, against any of these Fox News or any of these other political pundits out there spewing this stuff. But we got rappers, because of their lyrics, they'll get RICO charges. You see what I'm saying? So we have to understand what we're really dealing with and start taking these things seriously. And the fact is, he was a white male shooter. If there was a description, right? If someone came to our world and said, "Give me your description of what a mass shooter looks like," it would look like this dude, a young white male shooter. They're the ones who are doing this stuff, but it's Black folks and other ethnicities that are being vilified for the violence in this country. So we have to deal with the fabric in which this country was actually founded upon, which is white supremacy. And a part of white supremacy is that these people aren't punished. This guy was able to shoot and be armed and murder people and still be alive. Dylan Roof was able to go and murder people in a church and still get some Burger King But yet still, we have black folks who are mistaken for things, mistaken that they have weapons, or are unarmed, that are murdered by those who are sworn to protect us in this country. So, we have to ask ourselves as a people, not just when is enough, but we have to start looking at our value. And when we look at it in a value aspect, as far as any other demographics, whether you're LGBTQ, Asian Americans, white Americans, any of these different demographics, and how they're getting legislation passed and how they're getting tangibles for the things that their community needs, there really needs to be a collective push and be like, look, what we've been doing is not working. Black folks literally went out there to vote. So this whole notion of, we'll just go vote, and this is about gun control. This is not about gun control. This is about white supremacy. And until America and, whether it's the United States government or our elected officials deal with the disease that this country have, which is white supremacy, we are always going to be in constant danger. And so it's sad, but it's also really telling to show how far we have come. And it's interesting to see the dichotomy in the contrast in how we are dealt with as opposed to other groups. Why is it that other groups can get legislation passed to protect them, and we have to ask ourselves, why is it so hard or so difficult, or why do we have to have committees and panels for Black Americans to be protected by this Constitution, or have equal protection under the law? And so this is a conversation we need to stop having these conversations, and we need to start hitting these folks, whether it's in their wallet or whether these folks need to start losing elections, until we actually start getting some tangibles, right? Like, I was someone who believed in the voting system, but it's hard to go out there and stop for anybody and when you got stuff like this going on. What good is it voting for anybody when you can't go to the grocery store? And these are these are our elders. And you're attacking women, you're attacking our elders, you're attacking children. Like, we have to get serious as a community as to how we are going to protect ourselves, and not just, we're too, and my rant is, we're just too forgiving of a people, too welcoming of a people. You can't, Ahmaud Arbery couldn't jog. He couldn't jog in a neighborhood that wasn't his own. He was stopped. People, when you go into another white neighborhood or something, people will stop you. Hey, how many viral videos that we see of people saying, hey, you live here? How many Karen videos do we have, people saying, hey, where are you from?
Right,
people basically asking for their papers, where they're from. So we need to start doing the same thing and policing our own community.
So first and foremost, we definitely want to send our condolences to all of the families affected in Buffalo and the entire city of Buffalo. The one thing I was reading, and I did read in regards to just as a response to what you were saying in regards to legislation and things of that nature. So I will say that what happened was the U.S. House representative passed a domestic terrorism bill in response to the Buffalo shooting. So this bill essentially was created to bolster federal resources specifically for domestic terrorism, racist terrorism, and things of that nature. Now,
what I'm talking about is something specific. When they did they literally said Asian hate crime bill. We need some specific legislation towards Black folks, right?
So I'm just letting you know what's going on, because a lot of people, we have these questions, and for good reason that we have these questions. But supposedly this bill is specifically going to be targeting white supremacist groups. So it may not say this is the bill for the Negroes, but in description, it is supposed to be assisting in the attacks and for these groups that are targeting us. Now, also a similar legislation was also passed by the House in 2020, but it stalled in the Senate. From what I've read, there was only one Republican, even this time around with the Buffalo shooting, that voted for that legislature to go through. So, unfortunately, we are going through the downsides of the whole checks and balances again. And no, it's completely unfortunate, but I just wanted to give a little bit of a context that, people that you have been voting for have been putting up their end of the bargain, at least.
I don't think so, though, bro.
Not on one side. I mean, I'm just saying, you ask for legislation. What are they doing? I'm letting you know that this is what.
Yeah, but what I'm talking about is specific legislation, right? The legislation, not trickle down. When it comes to Black folks, there's always some sort of like, hey, we're going to do this umbrella thing, this intersectional, everybody's included, and we're going to have everything trickle down. But when it's other groups, they will be like, no, this is LGBTQ legislation. This is Asian American legislation. This is for Native Americans. There needs to be anti-Black legislation and specific to the Black experience and protecting Black people, not a domestic terrorism, broad and stuff like that's cool, but that's not what I'm talking about, because we've had legislation in the past that's been the trickle down umbrella stuff, and we still have the result that we have today. So like we've seen how there's executive orders that could be popping all the time, right? There should be an executive order. They shouldn't be waiting. They should be acting, especially like in even any economic situation. It should be, first money in, first money out, right? If you know, as a Democrat, as an elected official, that, hey, these statewide or these national races, if we don't have this demographic, this key demographic, which is African Americans, I'm gonna start losing these races. So I should probably take care of my base, right? It's like taking care of your donors. When you have a big donor, you make sure that the donor gets the first crack at his interest. His influence is, hey, I'm giving you all this money, so you better, adhere to my agenda, or guess what? I can go and support your opponent. It's the same principle, right? When it comes to our vote and the power of our vote to say, hey, we don't have to vote for you because we are your shareholders. You're not listening to your shareholders, and I think that's what people who will criticize the lack of specific legislation towards African Americans will say. It's like, yo, F all that whole hugging and gesturing and, oh, this is about gun control. All those things, all those conversations are just to minimize the Black experience of what's going on. We don't need Al Sharpton on these platforms talking about, oh, this is about gun control. No, it's about white supremacy. Like we keep calling it other things, right. And we're not. Like if you're at the doctor's office and you're sick, you don't want them to give you a broad synopsis or diagnosis of, hey, well, it could be your knee, it could be no. Tell me, let's talk about what it actually is. So unless we are gonna deal with the sickness and the illness and the disease of this country, then we'll never have a remedy. We'll always be in constant danger.
Question. So in this case, do you feel like they would do better by, and this for a lack of a better term, optically, if you're putting vocabulary that says Black, if you're putting vocabulary that says African American hate bill, because we've seen them do that with other bills. We've even seen them do that with economic plans, saying that this is a Black economic plan for Black people. And essentially all it really is like you were to say, it's an umbrella of economic plan for businesses that Black people will benefit from. So in this case,
a lot of that, I'll touch on that. Go ahead. I'll let you finish.
In this case, the legislation that they are trying to pass is targeting everything that you said that you would like them to target, but it doesn't say this is for Black people. So what I'm saying is, do you feel like they need to pander a little bit and say this is for Black people? Because if not, you're going to have people just say, oh, it doesn't say Black people, so if it's not for us. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, the details of what you want them to do exist in the bill that they're trying to pass. But since it doesn't say this is what it's for, and then also, do you think that that is a tactic to maybe help the bill pass through? Because we already know the pushback when it comes to the majority of calling something for Black people. So do you think maybe the optics of removing it's for us could help it push forward? And then also the flip side, asking you a question is, would you be more comfortable if it said us, even if it's the same bill?
No, so that's a good question. So, and I want to address that. A lot of times when you have that type of legislation, they'll say, oh, this is for Black people. Black people will be the face of it. But when you read the legislation, it will say minorities, or it will say people of color. And so then now everybody, when it comes to like protection or resources, now everybody's included, and Black folks always end up getting pushed at the end or the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to protecting, right? When it comes to us, it's always this broad statement so that everybody else is included. But when it comes to specific groups, it's like, oh no, this is LGBTQ. This is Asian American. This is like they have no problem. There's no blanketed where we're like, hey, can we get some of that protection under the LG? They're like, no. This is for us, right? So we got to have the same sort of like, yeah, we want something specifically that says for us. If you attack all these things, like if you go in New York and you like do anything to an Asian person right now, they can charge you with a hate crime off rip, right? So we need to have that sort of legislation that if you're being harassed by these Karens or Kens, or you're being harassed by these law enforcement officers, we don't have to do the whole guessing game. There's too much interpretation. And I think that's what we need to get away from. The whole like, oh, because we're banking on people to do the right thing with the interpretation, and that's why we get into the court, and then we're messed up in the game. No, we need to be like, hey, if you do these things towards Black people, this is what the punishment is going to be. It's going to be a hate crime. We're going to federal charge, because the deterrent. You know why these things keep happening? And I'll wrap up on this. It's because the deterrent is not severe enough, right? Even when we look at someone like Amber Geiger, who goes into this guy's apartment and shoots and kills him in his own apartment, right? She gets 10 years, and then the judge gets off the bench and starts hugging her and talk about, and the family starts saying, oh, will you forgive or whatever. That doesn't deter. It's the same principle of, hey, the guy who attacked Dave Chappelle on stage was not charged for attempted murder or a felony, right? Well, I just read a report that allegedly he's actually charged for attempted murder on something unrelated, another situation, right? So it's like, damn, like it don't have nothing to do with money. It don't have nothing. It's just like, well, when it comes to Black people, there's always some, well, let's see all the evidence. Well, what happened? Let's see. I don't know. Well, I want to see the full video. There's always some sort of discussion, or whether the violence towards us was justified. There's always some sort of conversation about, well, what about Chicago? F all that. We need to have, hey, if you do this to this specific group in this type of manner, based upon these principles, you are going to have severe penalties, and that's going to be a deterrent. And I think that is just the beginning of the change, on top of Black people getting more resources so that we can be more economically viable in our own communities. Bet?
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, because there are laws that specifically protect people's race, color, and culture. I mean, not too long ago in Florida, we signed a bill that would protect hate speech against Jews specifically. I mean, it was a I'm not sure the exact name, but it was anti-Semitic, and then they also included like religion in there as a protection. But the bill was, if there's any anti-Semitic talk, it's the enhanced penalty for that. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, people will say the Civil Rights Act, but the Civil Rights Act protects discrimination against all races, all sects, and it's not specifically like if you say Negro, or if you say the N-word, then any type of African American hate speech, it's an enhanced penalty for it. So I do understand where you're coming from, and I think that it's like that because, oh gosh, I think it's really like that. Not, of course, white supremacy, that's one thing, but a part of, like, let's just say, I'm saying going all the way back. A part of when we even started making these this legislation, I feel like deep down in the roots, whoever the legislators were at that time, they felt like Black people were more than they were. So it was just, and I still feel like that exists to this day. Like, yeah, like I still feel like they feel like we don't need that protection because we can handle our own. We make it through. We get through this, we get through that. People say the strong Black woman, the strong Black man. Psychology even says doctors have treated us differently because they think that we can bear more pain. And so I think it's deeply rooted. Like, do we even need it? Because we're going to protect ourselves. But that was just my spill.
No, but to piggyback off that, sometimes I wonder if I think that this is also, to be honest, I think this is also a blowback of inclusion, right? Because when you ask yourself to be categorized as every single other American, like, there's not going to be such a rush to be like, okay, like, why do Black people need additional laws if we've already categorized them American and there's already laws protecting Americans? You see what I'm saying? Like, with the, I think the Asian American one is a little bit more distinctive because they are categorized as Asian American. That lineage of Asia helps them. Like, a lot of times in a lot of places, we're still not categorized as African American per se.
Because
like,
why we're categorized? Because we're categorized as property.
Because what I'm saying is,
that's what we're categorized in this country. Is we're categorized as property and 3/5 of the person, and people still have that type of mentality when it comes to Black people. We weren't brought here to just to chill and have in the pursuit of happiness. That had nothing to do with us, right? We were brought here.
Like, even just the stripping of our lineage, just like kind of goes into, like I said, blanketed. Oh, Americans, Black people are just included in the all-American legislature. Wink, wink, right? So it's just kind of why would you need this if you guys are American, right? You guys are American. We already have a hate crime bill. Why would you need a Black hate crime bill? You know what I'm saying? Like, they feel like it's like doubling up on it. So I think it's a loophole that is just a direct effect of inclusion. Inclusion.
Or they feel like we can't
integration part of it. Yeah. So that's something else that they fucked up, but that's another story for another.
Yeah, it's crazy because one moment we included, the other moment, with next minute we not.
Exactly. Wink, wink.
Well, speaking of inclusion, all right, and I want to get y'all take up. Go ahead.
Wait, TJ, I just wanted to say something real quick. I thought it was like kind of like, I know that everyone has the right to a fair trial, but for him to go in there and plead not guilty, I think it's bonkers. I feel like for crimes like this, you should automatically go to jail, and I don't even think there should be like no trial.
Nah, they're gonna fry him up. He's out of there.
No, but the thing is that a lot of these, and speaking to your point, just say, like, a lot of these mass shooters, they're not scared of prison. And they're not also, some of them aren't even scared to die. They're like, they are willing to die for their cause, right? So so killing them or anything, like, that doesn't matter to, that doesn't matter to them, and, when they almost prefer, wink, wink, to go through that. Let's say, hey, you could catch me on video, but let's go through this judicial system, because they're like, I'm white and I'm going to have more times than not, I'm going to have home field advantage. So I could roll the dice on an insanity plea, or I can draw this out. I can have more people look up some of my manifestos and my stuff so that I can, my message, sometimes they're their message is more important to them than their own life. That's how deeply rooted their hatred is.
Right.
Correct. That's how deeply rooted the hatred is. However, there is, I guess, some good news because Alan, you talked about inclusion, and we have someone who's trying to do the Lord's work, I guess, and sent Twitter ablaze. Bronny James was trending on social media. Bronny James, who is the son of LeBron James, actually went to prom and had his prom date, right? And he had a prom, he had a date. It's a normal thing for a high school student to do. However, Twitter, Black Twitter, there was just a lot of controversy because, I'll show you the picture. Bronny's date, or I guess that's his girlfriend. I'm not sure what her name is white. She is a Caucasian young lady and went to prom. So so now people are having this conversation they're like, wait a minute, Savannah James, which is his mother, and LeBron James, who has done a lot of the activism and reading Malcolm X books and stuff, they're like, hey, how could you let this happen? So my question to y'all is it a big deal? Is it a big deal to you?
It's about environment. And
is it a big deal that Bronny James went to prom with a white girl?
To me, it's not a big deal. I think that I don't know how. Maybe he hasn't come across a black girl that he liked. I don't know when you're that rich.
He ain't had the sugar yet. That's why he just like.
With that type of money that they have, maybe they're in a neighborhood where majority of his friends are white. I'm just gonna assume that. Yeah. Not saying that there aren't other black people in that caliber of finances, but just because I don't know what neighborhood he's growing up in, I'm just gonna say it's not a big deal. Now, the family that I come from, even if you are in a neighborhood where you're the only black person, we're gonna call our cousin, our auntie, our step is Ashley daughter still available for prom?
You gonna make sure
import the blacks?
We calling the neighbors from who we used to grow up with back in the day. Is Shirley Neff still around? Yeah. So maybe he don't have any family, because I know my family, we would have tagged a friend.
What about you, Jesse?
Yeah.
No, they don't bother me. It's not really my business. If he's happy, then more power to him. I really don't have an opinion. If he's happy, he's happy. I mean, did she do anything that was offensive to like black people? If not, then I don't.
She's dating a future NBA star. That's what's offensive.
Lucky her. But no, I mean,
in fairness, I just wanted to bring up the point that Kobe Bryant, God rest his soul, did go to prom with Brandy, and she was starring in Moesha. So I just wanted to bring that up. God rest his soul, Kobe Bryant. He went and showed up, and cameras and everything was shown. But I can tell you one person that did not agree, or looked like they didn't agree.
Ooh.
His little sister was not feeling it. She was like, "What is going on? What is it?" Zuri James is like, "Hey, wait a minute. This is it's become an iconic meme now. I don't know who took this picture. Maybe it was the mother." But she looks either confused or not happy. I've seen people having the woke shirt. She had a kufi on where she was looking at it like, But she looked like a little sister that's just protective over her brother anyway.
Or maybe they took that picture off guard. Maybe they took that picture off guard.
Yeah, she looked like she was off guard. She's like, wait, is this who he going with? Alan, what about you? You think it's a big deal? This is what people were mad about this week?
Mr. Inclusion.
Listen, I am not the.
Alan and Bronny gonna be in the delegation for the diversity and inclusion.
You know, everyone knows I am not the mailman for milk.
Okay.
But I do have to be consistent in saying that I stay out of children's business, and this seems like children's business. And the only thing I will say is that prom pictures are forever.
They sure are.
Yeah, and the other thing I will say, just like definitely Giovanni's point, and I say this anytime, I see an athlete come out of school. A lot of these kids are traveling athletes, and they definitely are living in the 1 percentile neighborhood. So, for every like 500 white kids, there may be like 2 black kids, man or a woman. So, I mean, number-wise, stuff like this does happen. But, I trust
black Alan that he's dating a white girl. Does it make him any less black? That's what people want to know. Is this already a bad mark on him?
I'm not going to judge anyone.
He was already smoking weed on social media. Now he's dating white girls.
To be fair,
people trying to figure out what's going on in the James household.
Yeah, I won't judge anyone's blackness at the ripe age of 17 years old. I don't think that's fair because I wouldn't have want anyone to do that to me or anyone else that I know. So, but I will say that I do have faith in the household he's in. I have faith that Bronny is giving him a good stern talking to. I have faith that Savannah is giving him a good stern talking to. All the uncles, CP3, Dwayne Wade, Mello, they were all married to beautiful black women. So, they were all married to beautiful black women. So, it's around him. He sees black love. He knows what it is. So, in the long run, he'll be fine in the long run, man. I mean, play his fuck up.
Well,
I wanted to say he fucked up. He may really like
I'm not going to be a hypocrite. Rumor has it that the host of the Soapbox has dated outside of his race once, twice, or a couple times. But, and so it's not an indication. There may be pictures out there. Who knows? No, I did not go to prom with.
Some offenses are higher than the others, depending on who has proof of them.
I think she was black. No, she was Puerto Rican. Who I went to prom.
Puerto Rican mommy.
She was Puerto Rican.
But
I mean, I did have. I mean, a lot of that is an environment too, because where I grew up in Boston, I lived in the inner city. I went to school here. I went to prom here. My senior prom in Florida. But your environment has a lot because when I lived in Boston and I was in something called the MECO program where they took inner city black kids and bused them to suburban schools. And so all I saw during my adolescence from like 4th grade all the way up until 10th grade was just white girls, right? And then when I moved down to Florida, it was more diverse, but that's what I knew was like, oh, white. So I had a high school sweetheart at the time that was white. But after high school and towards college, and definitely when I went to FAM, all that stuff, I wouldn't say shit. All that changed, right? The more knowledge of self and the more awareness that I have of self and history, the more attractive black women or other ethnicities or melanated skin became to me, right? And I'm not against interracial dating, but who you date needs to know where you came from and where you're going. And they also need to breathe life into you as a black man. And more times out of not, I've always said, and I've said this on a podcast, you can't be like, I would never consider myself a revolutionary as far as an activist, because I think one of the most revolutionary acts that you can do is to create a black family. You see what I'm saying? To be married to a black woman, to be a black man, black woman married with black kids. And because that's what the system of white supremacy, that's target number one of what they were trying to tear down. So if you have a black family, a secure black family with principles and traditions and values, that in itself is a revolutionary act. Now, that doesn't mean that you are less black, but I believe that is something that should always be that should be honored. But yes, who you date needs to know and identify, like, okay, this is what it means for him to, be Black. And this is what the respect I have for his culture. And, knowing that if you're a Black man and you're going to raise Black children, no matter what race you have, you date. If they're light skinned. Actually, if you look on Atlanta had the show Atlanta had an episode about that, about pigmentation and, whether or not, in your Blackness based upon your skin color and stuff like that. Kevin Samuels is actually,
which was crazy.
The timing of that is crazy. But yes, was on that episode as well. So, most people have problems with interracial dating because of Black economics. When that person dies, especially Black athletes, when they pass away, that money doesn't circulate back into the community. It circulates into white communities, and it never gets back to us. It just, it's a lot of different things, But I will say this: if you do date outside your race, specifically white women, you are playing, and I will say this, you are playing white supremacy Russian roulette. Because they know, and whether or not they can be the sweetest person. And I know I have friends who are married, happily married with white wives and have beautiful children, right? But in a system of white supremacy, you can always get your card pulled, right? So you as a Black male need to understand the system that you're in, that if your counterpart, who is white, they do have privileges that you don't have. And so at any point in time, if things go sideways, you will get your Negro wake-up call. Ask Tiger Woods.
Yeah. I mean, and
I say love who you want, but just be hyper aware of the situation that you're putting yourself in. Be happy, be blissful, but never forget that you are still a Black man. I think the problem comes in is if you start dating white people and now white women or white men, and now you're dogging Black men out, you're dogging Black women out. Like, you don't need to dim the light of Black women if you want to date outside your race. Like, you don't need to do that. Sure. And too many times, people who date outside their race, they
felt like they crossed to the other side.
And the first thing they talk about is Black women. Like, oh, you like a white girl? Okay, cool. Why do you like a white girl? Oh, because she ain't, Black girls. It's like, wait, what Black women got to do? Why do you like her? Now that makes you, why do you like her as a white woman or a woman in general? But your first criticism or reason why you like her is because of something you don't like what Black women do. That's where it becomes a more self-hatred.
And the fact that, and it's like, it's just a lack of experience. Like, I mean, just women, women in just different areas act different. Like, women from Harlem don't treat you like women from Brooklyn. Women from Brooklyn don't treat you like women from Queens. So, like, for you to not even have the cognizant, or just not even have the experience and just start to blanket like, oh, this is a racial thing because you've had one experience with one race with one woman and one with the other. I hate when people do that. It just shows that
it ain't. Listen, trust me, it ain't all peaches and cream dating outside your race, no matter what it is. I mean, whether it's Latino,
and it's not all peaches and cream dating within your race too. But so what you?
Oh yeah, I know that, but I'm just saying for those who think that the grass. But we talk about get off your lawn. For those who think that the grass is, we don't want it.
Absolutely not.
It ain't always that grass ain't always greener. And I don't know if y'all ever dated Cape Verdeans, because that's a trip too. But that's another episode for another time.
And I can't date Cape Verdeans.
And a lot of times it's racism on that other grass too. If you want to venture out and want to be big man outside the race. That anti-blackness is all over the place. Let me tell you.
If you are in the Northeast and you have dated a Cape Verdean, we have a number for you to call.
You funny.
To be honest, speaking of, if you are in the Northeast and you are a Cape Verdean, I also have a number for you to call.
I can't date Cape Verdeans. They're my cousins.
Yeah, y'all all related. You find out y'all related?
We are. I tried. I dated outside of my race before. It was interesting. We had a great relationship. His parents didn't like me at all.
What I tell y'all, it's racism on that other grass, boy.
Yeah. So.
But this is a white guy?
Yeah. That's a story for another day.
Giovanni, what about you?
I never thought about it.
Good. Malcolm X's birthday. That's a black woman for you. That's a sister. She said, I ain't never thought about it. You right. You know, on Malcolm X's birthday, she said, it ain't even crossed my mind, brother. Drums. Giovanni said that, and I heard drums. In my heart. Yo, speaking of, we got one more topic for y'all. I don't know if you guys are familiar with what's going on in college football. There's been some talk about NIL. NIL deals is name, image, likeness. Now we know that players can actually get paid for their name, image, and likeness, right? And so when we talk about college recruiting, the coaches are now getting spicy because now it's open season. So if you got the bag, you can get whatever players that you basically get whatever players that you want. And now these young black athletes, who are the majority of those who are in D1 college programs, these big time programs, they are now afforded the opportunity to think like bosses and go anywhere that they want to. And some coaches don't really like that. So here is Alabama head coach Nick Saban giving his thoughts on the NIL deal.
Last year, A&M was first. A&M bought every player on their team.
First of all, I'll say it's a shame that we have to do this. It's really despicable.
You've read about them. You know who they are. I mean, we were second in recruiting last year. A&M was first. A&M bought every player on their team.
First of all, I'll say it's a shame that we have to do this. It's really despicable. You're taking shots at 17-year-old kids and their families. We bought every player on this group. We never bought anybody. No rules were broken. Nothing was done wrong.
We didn't buy one player, right? But I don't know if we're going to be able to sustain that in the future because more and more people are doing it. We have a rule right now that says you cannot use name, image, and likeness to entice a player to come to your school. Hell, read about it in the paper. Jackson State paid a guy $1 million last year that was a really good Division I player to come to the school. It was in the paper, and they bragged about it.
When he doesn't get his way or things don't go his way, the narcissist in him doesn't allow those things to happen. Some people think they're God. Go dig into how God did his deal. You may find out about a guy that a lot of things you don't want to know. We built him up to be the czar of football. Go dig into his past or anybody that's ever coached with him. You can find out anything you want to find out, what he does and how he does it. And it's despicable.
Man, he sounds like he's about to cry.
Yo, I was just about to say that. Listen, y'all ever watch First and 48? Coach Jimbo Fisher looked like he was in the interrogation room at First and 48. Like he knew he did something wrong. Like what? It wasn't even me. If you really want to know what happened, it was Coach Saban. He was the one that, I mean, you go look at him. I mean, I know where the body's at. I know where Pookie and Ray. You look. He looked like Coach Fisher looked like those dudes on First and 48 when they come in with the box of that chicken box and they give him a soda. Like, hey man, hey little Tay, it's okay. We just want to talk to you. He's like, yeah. And he started telling. He was like, look, I want to tell it all. And Coach Saban threw Jackson State, which is an HBCU, under the bus because, as we reported on the Soapbox, they got a top recruit, and that's who he's alleging got paid $1 million. And that top recruit was like, hey, I believe his name is Travis Hunter, I believe his last name is. Forgive me if I know his first name is Travis. He's basically saying like, hey, he's like, how did I get $1 million and my mom is still in a 3-bedroom apartment with 5 kids, and I got $1 million. So a lot of these big time programs and these college coaches are mad now because they used to be able to just have their boosters pay these players under the table, but now it's opened it up where it's open season where now everybody can do it. And so a coach like Deion Sanders, who has a lot of influence beyond just financial and money, people want to play for Coach Sanders. Now it's becoming a problem. They're feeling the heat because everybody else is doing it. And Coach Jimbo Fisher is like, he's losing his mind. He's like, oh, me and Saban's friendship is over. How dare you come over here looking at what's going on in my lawn, and you over there, you violating stuff over there too. So I like the fact that name, image, and likeness, eventually they're going to start regulating it, kind of like NFL free agency. But I wanted us to touch on that to really start diving into topics of college football and just kind of keeping an eye out on how some of these coaches who are losing their minds is getting spicy out here. And I know we definitely need to continue to watch the landscape as these young men are actually starting to take control of their finances in their futures and making business decisions off of an industry in college football that makes billions with a B, billions of dollars off of these young athletes, majority of them African American. So that's why I wanted to touch on that. Any thoughts?
I just wanted to say, I'm a Seminole fan, and Jimbo Fisher is in the Seminole lineage. He got us that championship. So once a no, always a no. Shout out to Jimbo Fisher for going at Nick Saban net. Also, shout out my man and one of my favorite athletes of all time, Prime Time as well. Nick Saban just really came off like a hater because, like you said, they know that Alabama's money has been long for a very long time. So the advantages that existed pre the NIL still exists now, but the field is evening out just a little bit more. So, I'm not going to say he's panicking, but I mean, I do feel like it's going to be a snowball effect to all of this bickering for real. But shout out to Jimbo. Shout out to my man, Primetime Deion Sanders as well. But yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye out for this.
Jimbo Fisher sound like he about to take a plea deal.
He would never. He would never. Listen, he said he's gonna show him. He said if I'm going down, Nick going down with me, and I'll show you where.
Yeah, he's ready to burn everything down. But it should make for a good season, college football season. Texas A&M, if they face Alabama, they're both in the SEC. So we shall see what happens. But ladies and gentlemen, we have got to that point in the show. Thank y'all, Soapboxx Nation, for rocking with us. Oh, real quick, just to let y'all know, those who are watching us, just tell them the news.
That's right. You heard it here first. Soapboxx Podcast got a TikTok, y'all. So check us out. We will be posting some content on there. Okay.
We gonna be doing all this?
Yeah.
Y'all gonna be shaking Tushy? Yeah.
I don't know.
Y'all are.
I don't know what we're supposed to do for these TikTok followers. I don't know how we get it, but apparently, Jesse's gonna have to coordinate that for us. I'm gonna have to get her to log in. So we'll see. Hopefully we'll make some, our Nigerian friends will help us out making some content and stuff like that, hopefully. And we'll see how it goes. So we'll see y'all on TikTok.
We'll definitely see y'all on TikTok. I know that I know there's more topics that y'all want to hear from us about too. So feel free, Soapboxx Nation, to shoot us recommendations in the Facebook, in the Instagram, and the TikTok. Say, yo, anyone got some time? I want to know what y'all hear about this. If we don't have time to do it on the show, maybe we'll do it on the TikTok. Maybe some bonus content for y'all. But I can't give up the game just yet. I can't give it up.
Yeah, maybe we do some, Javon, maybe we do some self-love tips or something. Maybe a little motivation, maybe a little,
Let's do it.
Maybe I can be the new Kevin Samuels. Maybe I need to do. Maybe I need to be that.
God.
Maybe I need to do that. Just be like, okay. What's your size? Scale 1 to 10. Scale 1 to 10. That's what I'll do. I'll be the new Samuels. But hey, we've reached the point of the show.
I got some ideas.
Let's do it. Hey, moral of the story. I'm gonna start with. Let's start with Jesse. Jesse, moral of the story.
Moral of the story. Well, we were just talking about love and self-love. So I'd say if you're going to be sitting down for a long period of time, get yourself a back pillow because it will help your back extremely, extremely, extremely. That's my moral of the story.
Yo, Jesse had. Hey, I don't feel bad. Jesse got a lot of minutes today. She got a lot of minutes. She's been in rotation. So she's been overdrive. So I gotta put on what do they call it? Minute management, like as they do in the NBA. Alan, what's your moral of the story?
My moral of the story for today is mask mandates is coming back. So wash your hands hand wash your ass.
Really?
You know, city by city, but in New York, this surgeon. So they're saying inside they are highly suggesting that we start wearing masks once again. But you already know how that goes. So, of course, wash your ass, wash your hands, wash your face, but don't wash your face with the same thing that you wash your ass with. You know what I'm saying? These are very simple hygiene tips from your boy Alan.
I like that.
These are things that you guys can expect on our TikTok. That's gonna get all of tens of followers with information and gems like that.
Life skills.
Yo, Giovanni, what is your moral of the story?
So yeah, my moral of the story for today is even when you see people not working behind the scenes, they still may be working. We know that you haven't seen some of our faces for a while in the Soapboxx Nation, but we were working behind the scenes for you. And so just always remember that you can always come back and watch our old episodes. You can always come back and share a video. And if you need also that time to just take some face off of social media, do that, but keep working. That's my moral of the story.
I like that.
I like that. Hold on, let me.
That was good, Jay.
Thanks, y'all.
That was good. Hey, and that was part of my moral of the story, which was, keep working, keep doing what you're doing, keep working. We're building now. We got a bit of a fan base in Nigeria. You know, we've already hit Portugal. We've hit Florida. We got some folks in Chicago, some folks in Boston, some folks in New York, some folks in Jersey. Like this Soapboxx Nation thing it's a thing. You know what I mean? It's building, it's growing. We're drinking our water. We're building individually and we're building collectively because we know when we build individually, we all still profit and benefit because when one wins, we all win because we are a team and a family in the truest sense of the word. So, ladies and gentlemen, look forward to big things popping for the Soapboxx Nation. We are ready, so we don't have to get ready. All right. So, with that being said, that is my moral of the story. So, for Alan York, for Jess Giovanni, for Jesse, we are the Soapboxx Podcast. We appreciate y'all. We're glad to be back. We're going to be bringing new and fantastic guests and some real good content. So just stay with us on this journey as we continue to prosper and flourish as a unit. So we are, this is where we pose, ladies and gentlemen. Let me go ahead. This is where we pose. We are out. Peace.
Tell them what we talking about. Anything.